whatever the little segment of Russian history that I've shared with you, well, my concern is not a history on Russia. Well, in fact, I just want to make it clear to many of the viewers that how did it develop? Well, the counter forces in 20th century, in the earlier decades of the 20th century, were looking for an ideology. They had everything, but they lacked ideology. And the Karl Marx theory, in fact, provided them an ideology. Socialism, in fact, draped itself into an ideology of a state and an ideology of economy. Communism served as the cause to appeal the masses, appeal the labor, appeal the peasantry, upon which very weak forces started working against czars. Czars were very strong, and they easily had defeated many of the uprisings in the previous years, in the previous centuries, and by no means such a threat as arranged by socialists came before them in the second decade of 20th century could do anything to them, could never harm the czars if they didn't have a firm ideology. Yes, the working class was wretched. There was unjust distribution of the resources, but czars were so strong, so dominated, that they didn't allow any of the counter forces to make the way there. And what happened in those days, that czars collapsed on the plea by the socialists who had the ideology of socialism for the welfare and the cause of peasantry, for the welfare and cause of labor class. Those who were wretched, those who didn't have any resources, and those who worked for the riches of the empire were not given the proper share of it. In fact, the whole of the country had collapsed foundation of economy. The socialists found it as a wet loaf. Yes, they had worked very hard for it, and they meant the great success. And they achieved such a great success when they made their way to a military expedition against the empire in those days. So with this ideology, they confronted the czars of Russia. They collapsed the czar's empire in Russia, and they started a new era, the era of socialism based on the economy of communism. And the new sovereign country was named Union of Socialist Soviet Republics, USSR, commonly known as Soviet Union, with 15 republics. Of course, these 15 republics were not there in the beginning. They proliferated years later.